Before we continue with the news, let's rejoin Mitaire at the conference room of the SGF's office, venue of the daily briefing on COVID-19. Mitaire, the PTF has been looking into curbing the rate of COVID-19 infection at community level. I'm told you have the Minister of Information on standby. Could he speak to the issue of improved sensitization at community level?
Okay, I indeed have the Minister of Information and Culture, but he is a bit engaged. But before he joins me, and just to indicate that the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 today said there's a steady rise in maternal and child mortality rate in the country because of the continued refusal of health institutions to treat patients who present with other ailments apart from the coronavirus. And so this is because of the fear of health workers that some of these patients could present with coronavirus. And so this is resulting to that increase in maternal and child mortality. So the PTF continues to appeal to health institutions to attend to other health concerns apart from the coronavirus. I now have the Minister of Information and Culture joining me right now, Alhaji Lai Mohammed. Honorable Minister of Information, now that the Presidential Task Force is cascading the management of the pandemic down to the state levels, what is the plan for community sensitization, for risk communication and adaptation to the various guidelines for this phase?
I think we must be very clear. I don't think the PTF is actually abdicating its responsibility to anybody. But all we are doing is that we continue to provide leadership, continue to provide guidance. But there are certain issues that are better or best handled at state, local government level. That's what the government, the task force is doing in the latest guidelines. However, it struck at a very important point, which is risk communication and community management of communication. It's actually very, very important. You see, as of today, there's no known vaccine or medicine for COVID-19. So all we need to do, the only option left to us is the non-pharmaceutical intervention, which is wash your hands, keep social distancing, avoid mass gatherings, ensure that your hygiene regime is regular and it's okay. And this is where communication comes in. All this revolves around communication. But community involvement is key, because until and when the community takes possession and ownership in this fight, then we will not be as successful as we wish to be, as we wish. This is why we are asking the governors, in particular, to carry along the traditional leaders, the faith leaders, the various market women leaders, transport unions, all the major stakeholders in the state. You see, we cannot from Abuja here do this. For instance, Each state has its own peculiarity. But the governor who has campaigned for election clearly understands the various constituencies that he needs to appeal to, whether it be the traditional rulers, churches, markets, mosques, motor parks, students, youth organizations, even what I call ethnic organizations in that state. And believe me, the success of this fight would depend largely on how we're able to enlist all the stakeholders. The National Orientation Agency, of course, is doing its own bit in the area where advocacy. But then, it is very important that the governors, the local government chairman, take ownership of this. What NO is doing right now, that as the only organization in Nigeria, charged with the responsibility of social mobilization, and with presence in all the 774 local governments, they are working with all the state governments, all the local governments to drive this. But they need more to integrate into a single team. And that is all those, you see, there's so many different people, that are preaching the same the same language, the same message. But it would take the governors of the states and the chairman of the government to will them together into one single response. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We're grateful. Yeah. So, how does the response from the Honorable Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, on plans to strengthen risk communication about the coronavirus pandemic? It's back to you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Michari, for the reassurance. Moving on here, the Senate Committee on Niger Delta Affairs has commenced investigation into the alleged sacking of 20 management staff of the Niger Delta Development Commission. National Assembly correspondent Ignatius Mko reports on this and other committee activities at the Senate.
On Tuesday, 12th of May 2020, the Senate mandated its Committee on Niger Delta Development Commission to investigate the alleged sacking of 20 management staff of the Commission. 23 days after the investigation is on, the Federal Civil Service Commission and the legal team of the sacked staff were summoned for submissions.
There has been no reason whatsoever other than that the forensic auditing, which is on the ground, which has been set down, they are found as persons who are likely to interfere.
The committee demanded to find out from the Federal Civil Service Commission if an external forensic auditor has the right to suspend a staff.
The first question, because we have press, does an external auditor or a forensic auditor have the right to direct that 1, 2, 3, 4 staff be sent on compulsory leave?
The public service rule have seen nothing like that.
I wanted to also hear that, well, on account of alleged gross misconduct, bordering on mismanagement of funds and what have you of the commission, the officers concerned were queried.
We cannot overrule. We have no business with them. Whatever they do, it is up to the governing board.
The Federal Civil Service Commission, however, explained that parastatals have their own rules different from that of the Federal Civil Service Commission. The committee will be expecting the Niger Delta Development Commission in the next meeting. Meanwhile, the Senate Committee on National Planning and Economic Affairs has screened 7 nominees as members of the Revenue Mobilization, Allocation and Fiscal Commission.
And I want to assure you that there's a lot that we are bringing to the table.
So they should expect disciplined organization.
The report of the committee will now be presented at plenary for confirmation. From the National Assembly, Ignatius Mko, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs has commenced the screening of 42 career ambassadorial nominees with a call to ensure enhancement of Nigeria's foreign policy objectives. National Assembly correspondent Abdullahi Aminu completes the report.
The list of the career ambassadorial nominees was contained in an executive communication to the Senate by President Muhammadu Buhari on May 6, 2020. The screening exercise by the Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs could have been completed within the 2 weeks deadline given to it. But for the lockdown in the Federal Capital Territory and closure of the National Assembly, that was not achieved.
Look at what the African Union is going to do and also what ECOWAS is going to do.
Is to leverage on our natural endowments and block necessary leakages.
We have to go around all challenges and make sure we fulfill this legislative action.
In another development, the Senate Committee on Capital Market has successfully screened the nominees for the Director General and the Board of the Nigerian Securities and Exchange Commission.
With the training that I have, I am able to really look at a financial instrument and really understand its risk return.
With funds like this, we can fix all this our infrastructure.
Post-COVID-19 economy of the country was the topical issue that the senators said require more than casual attention of the board if confirmed by the Committee of the Whole. From the National Assembly, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
And still staying with the National Assembly, the House of Representatives is alarmed by the rising cases of rape and other forms of violence against women in Nigeria. The issue, debated as a matter of urgent public importance, saw House members expressing deep concern while urging authorities to do more to put a stop to these acts of crime, following a motion by Representatives Rotimi Agunsoye, who cited recent rape cases of Uwa Omozua, Tina Ezekwe, and a minor in Jigawa State. The lawmakers urge states to hasten the domestication of the Child Rights Act and advise the Nigeria Police to establish special units to attend to cases of rape in all its formations. The need for relevant security agencies to bring to an end killings, armed banditry and kidnappings across the country was also adopted at plenary. The House wants the security forces to scale up response to avoid food insecurity, as such security breaches threaten cultivation of farmlands by farmers. The Abuja-Kaduna train service has received additional 10 new coaches and 2 locomotives to boost the movement of increasing passengers along the corridor. Let's now join Oyinaya Kaluoka for more.
It has been tales of anger and disappointment as passengers at the Edo station of the Abuja-Kaduna train service struggles for tickets. With 17 inadequate coaches due to rising demand from passengers, the service carries more than 4,000 passengers daily, a double of the 2,000 passengers it was meant to take. The delivery of the 10 additional coaches and 2 locomotives is expected to move supply to 27.
There will be better train services on this corridor, because we are making the plans to increase our frequency from the current 8 to 14, so that we take care of the yearnings of our passengers.
With an advanced interior setting, the new coaches are modified for comfort, flexibility and safety. More spacious with enough leg room, separate charging points on each seat, hand washing section has been provided as a preventive measures against the spread of COVID-19.
This is the wash area. If a passenger comes in, even though they must have sanitized at the station, if they come in, they can still wash their hands here. We're going to put soap here. If they can still wash their hands here, before going to their seats.
Similarly, test running of the new coaches has kicked off at the Lagos-Ibadan train service. The trains are expected to be deployed for use when federal government lifts the ban on interstate movement. Oyina Akaloka, NTA News.
And in a related development, Director General, Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, Captain Musa Nuhu has listed 5 airports that will be allowed to commence domestic operations on June 21st. A communication by the NCAA to flight operators states that the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Lagos, Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, the Omogwa International Airport, Port Harcourt, Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kanu, as well as the Sam Mbakwe Airport, Owerri, now have approval to commence operation. According to the letter, other airports will be added gradually after a review and assessment. All flights to any of the airports outside the 5 approved to open shall comply with the existing COVID-19 protocols for approval. The NCAA boss emphasized that the closure of Nigerian airports to international flights will continue until the date of resumption is announced. Emergency and essential flights are exempted from the restriction and shall comply with the existing COVID-19 protocols for approvals. Suleiman in Kaduna is next in line.
And welcome to Kaduna Network Center. Jigawa State Government has handed over to their parents and guardians more than 1,300 Almajiri pupils earlier repatriated from the neighboring states in the wake of coronavirus pandemic. Governor Muhammad Badr Abubakar, who stated this while briefing newsmen in Dutse, ordered the enrollment of Almajiri pupils into a formal education as soon as schools resume in the state. Muhammad Musa Askira reports.
In total, 1,345 Almajiri pupils were repatriated to Jigawa State from Kano, Bauchi, Plateau, and Nasarawa State, occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic at the end of March this year. Out of this number, 130 were tested positive for COVID-19, with 107 already recovered and joined the rest who were handed over to their parents, while the remaining 23 are still at isolation center waiting for their recovery results.
We have directed the enrollment of those discharged into primary schools to commence Western as well as continue their Quranic education.
Governor Muhammad Badr Abubakar noted that the new cases being recorded in the state now are from contact tracing rather than imported ones, a development he attributed to the well-coordinated response of the state task force on the dreaded viral infection. The governor, who described as impressive the state fight against COVID-19, added that the establishment of a molecular laboratory for the disease, which has been on test running for a while now, will enhance the fight against the disease.
As we loosen up and relax lockdowns, we must observe social distancing, personal hygiene, as well as the use of face masks while in the midst of public.
To ensure that community transmission of the disease is not witnessed in the state, the governor has again extended the work-from-home order by 2 weeks, even as the lockdown order was lifted on most of the places affected. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
And Zazzau Emirate Council in Kaduna State has organized sensitization on coronavirus for district heads with a view to promoting adherence to COVID-19 safety protocol. Emir of Zazzau and Chairman Kaduna State Council of Emirs and Chiefs Alhaji Shehu Idris reminded participants of the need to take the campaign to the grassroots as a way of containing community spread. Mudashuru Aliu's report is here presented.
With coronavirus still ravaging the health condition and lives of many people across the globe, Emir of Zazzau Alhaji Shehu Idris calls on the people to complement the effort of both federal and state governments, as well as all the relevant authorities, towards containing the spread of the disease.
It is pertinent to note that coronavirus is still in existence and ravaging the lives of people. Hence, general public are advised to take precautions so as to curtail the spread of the disease.
The Emir calls on the district heads and religious leaders to enlighten the general public on the need to comply strictly with the professional advisories by NCDC and State COVID-19 Task Force.
And with that report, the news continues with Hawa in Abuja. Good evening.
Many thanks to you, Suleiman. Back here in Abuja, the federal government has clarified its stance on the removal of subsidy on petroleum products in Nigeria. Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, speaking on Good Morning Nigeria, explained that all subsidies were removed in response to current economic realities. The minister, alongside other economic experts, discussed the economy under the Buhari administration. Oluseye Adeagbo has more.
Fuel subsidy has been removed completely by this price modulation. That's one of the opportunities provided by the crash in the crude oil price and the coronavirus pandemic, and we took the opportunity very, very quickly.
Minister of Finance and National Planning Zainab Ahmed also said government is currently borrowing to build infrastructure while making efforts to aid a thriving business environment. Professor of Economics at the University of Benin, Mike Obadon, insists that conditions are more favorable for borrowing than in the past, as most loans obtained from international agencies like International Monetary Fund, IMF, are now concessionary.
They are borrowed from multilateral institutions which provide loans on relatively soft terms, very low interest rates, sometimes moratorium, and on very long term.
Other guests say 5 years counting, the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari has shown sufficient commitment in fulfilling its promises.
The blind will see that corruption has reduced tremendously in Nigeria due to the fiscal measures that government has introduced in managing public funds.
A lot of policies have been put in place, and of course we have seen them working.
Respondents on Good Morning Nigeria Twitter handle also applaud the administration for efforts at stabilizing the economy in spite of the unstable and dwindling crude oil price and the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. In Abuja, Oluseye Adeagbo, NTA News.
Secretary General, Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, Dr. Mohamed Sanusi Barkindo, is categorical that the rebalancing process of the global oil industry may be longer than anticipated under the prevailing uncertainties, downside risk, and given that global inventories appear to be continuing to build, although at a much lower rate than the record pace of late March and April 2020. The OPEC boss at the 133rd meeting of the Economic Commission Board held virtually, however, expressed optimism that the actions taken by OPEC Plus in April stopped short the race to $0 oil. In his words, Barkindo said, the decision taken by our members and our partners in the Declaration of Cooperation has been pivotal in reducing volatility and bringing back some semblance of stability to the market. No individual stakeholder, Dr. Barkindo added, can have all the answers. It is only by reaching out and deepening the dialogue between reputable institutions that we can provide a better and broader sense of the rapidly evolving energy landscape. The OPEC, he stressed, will continue to work closely with the International Energy Agency, including regular consultations and with International Energy Forum to ensure open lines of communication between producers and consumers. And Ibadan is where we go next with Kemi as our guide. Hello, Kemi.
And welcome to Ibadan. Park management system is one of the reforms conceived and implemented to sanitize the activity of public transport management in Oyo State. Dayo Gushola in this report takes a look at the new measures, its challenges and benefits.
Violence and disturbance of public peace were some of the worrisome features of junior workers in motor parks in Oyo State. The chaotic nature of the sector had been largely attributed to lack of proper regulation on their activities by government. More worrisome was the uncoordinated process of fee collection, which was prone to various forms of abuses, leading to violent protests from motorists. with the introduction of new concept of management, which no doubt refined the fee collection process at the stakeholders doing dutifully.
We are teaching them the art of decency and public comportment. No more will it happen that you will find a park manager struggling with drivers.
For the recalcitrant members, how resolute is the state government to the new order?
So we are working is bottom up now, and then we now imbibe that in the park management system.
When you see something that's been done that's violating the law, make sure you reach out to government. And once we hear that, we will take a decisive action.
Although the initiative is a sure way to sanitize the transportation sector, the implementation and monitoring required that all stakeholders must be on the same page. In Ibadan, Dayo Bunshola, NTA News.
The Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 has pledged to support Ogun State with funds for management of the pandemic in the state. Executive Director, National Primary Health Care Board, Dr. Faisal Shaib, who led a team of the Task Force on Assessment throughout to the state, made the pledge during a meeting with the state governor. Adeni Taiwo completes the report.
Apart from recording the index case of COVID-19 in the country of February 27, Ogun State, with about 280 confirmed cases, is one of the states worst hit by the virus. How well the virus is being managed in the state, which shares boundary with Lagos, the epicenter of the virus, and international border with Benin Republic, is of major concern to the federal government, therefore necessitating this visit by a team from the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, led by the Executive Director, National Primary Health Care Board, Dr. Faisal Shaib.
We're going through a process of adjusting the 2020 budget, and we're looking at how we get resources to support the states, because a lot of the states have sort of budgetary constraints, and some succor will be coming to the state.
We have started with community engagement in having different activities to further reinforce our people that are going to the PHCs as going to the patent store.
The team was later taken on an assessment tour of isolation centers and other facilities used for the management of COVID-19 in the state. In Abeokuta, Adeni Taiwo, NTA News.
And that's it from here. It's back to you, Hawa.
Thank you, Kemi. We sincerely apologize for the unsteady pictures from our Ibadan Network Center. The Nigerians in Diaspora Commission has engaged the Embassy of Lebanon over the continued detention of 10 Nigerians. Abubakar Usman Akwanga reports that the Director General of NITCAM, Abike Dabiri Erewa, during a visit to the Lebanese embassy in Nigeria, opened fresh discussions on labor relations between unskilled Nigerians and Lebanese citizens.
The visit was necessitated by speculations making the round on the detention and molestation of Nigerians in Lebanon and efforts to secure the release of the 10 Nigerians deboarded from an earlier flight from Lebanon to Nigeria. Abike Dabire says NITCOM is concerned over the security and welfare of Nigerians in Lebanon and thereafter sought for mutually beneficial terms of labor and the safety of Nigerian citizens.
The ambassador said the issue of even the workers' permit needs to be properly looked into. Agents are there collecting money, making money, and not seeing to the welfare of these people that are going to work there. So our ambassador in Lebanon has done very well, and we thank the Lebanese ambassador for the steps they have taken, and we hope that we put a stop to all this issue of Nigerian girls being treated anyhow in Lebanon.
Lebanese ambassador to Nigeria disclosed that the deportation of 59 Nigerians was facilitated and sponsored by Lebanese community in Nigeria and assures of the safe return of the remaining 10 as soon as they are cleared of allegations of criminal acts.
The reason was that there are cases against them, pending cases, so we couldn't clear them because of the short time that we were acting through. We were not able to bring them, clear them, to get on the flight.
The ambassador promised to investigate cases of alleged human rights abuses on Nigerians by Lebanese and also work on improving best international tenets that will improve diplomatic ties between both countries. In Abuja, Abubakar Usman Akwanga, NTA News.
Learning from successes in the recently implemented Special Works project in the 8 states from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country, the federal government has expanded its job creation program to all 774 local government areas in Nigeria. The National Directorate of Employment, NTA, will be implementing this project as part of government's intervention to rebuild the nation's economy post-COVID-19. NTA Fineface reports.
Federal Government Special Public Works Project is initiated by President Muhammadu Buhari to cater for unemployed youths at the grassroots. A total of 54 billion naira is earmarked for the program. 1,000 Nigerians and 3 supervisors from each of the 774 local government areas of the country will benefit from the program.
The fact that we did the 40,000 across 8 states as a pilot study, the way we did it, Mr. President was so impressed. He said, okay, why not cover the whole 774 local governments? And this is the basis of what we are trying to do now.
Beneficiaries will receive the sum of 20,000 naira each, while supervisors will get 50,000 naira each for a period of 3 months.
To you or to me, 60,000 naira is nothing. But for somebody living in a rural area, he can use that if he's a farmer to buy water pumping machine or maybe to start their own businesses. That's the essence. So as far as I'm concerned, given 774,000 young men and women that are unemployed without any formal education, a job, it will go a long way.
The program is designed to provide maintenance for federal, state and local government facilities and the environment. In Abuja, Onengiye Fineface, NTA News.
We'll now take you to our Maiduguri Network Center with Abubakar as our guide. Hello, Abubakar.
Hello, Hawa. It's really good to see you, and thank you for joining us. Borno State Governor Professor Babagana Umara Zulum has reiterated his administration's determination to ensure the lives of the citizenry are protected for the achievement of a peaceful society. He stated this at the inauguration of Borno State Community Policing and State Community Policing Advisory Committees with membership drawn from all segments of the society. Memuna Garba reports.
Represented by his deputy, Umar Usman Kadapur, said the state is willing to cooperate with the Nigerian police to create an enabling environment for the security personnel to work in harmony with various members of the communities in which they operate.
This initiative should not doubt go a long way in reducing the rate of crime, especially Boko Haram insurgency, which requires more robust community effort along with law enforcement agency to contain.
Inspector General of Police, represented by DIG in charge of logistics and supply, Amin Chibaraya, said community policing is important and will help in the formalization of ideals and principles for more proactive, efficient and effective community policing in more challenging situations. The State Commissioner of Police, Mohammed Ndatso Aliyu, said the present security arrangement in the state, which involves civilian JTF, hunters, traditional rulers, and all stakeholders in the fight against insurgency, made it easier to implement community policing in the state and appealed for more support and cooperation. State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Barrister Kakashewu Lawan, commended the initiative, saying it will help tackle insecurity in the state. The 2 committees comprised of traditional rulers, security agencies, CSO, NLC, NBA, NUJ, NDLEA, and community leaders representatives, among others. In Maiduguri, Maimuna Garba, NTA News.
The National Orientation Agency in Borno is on a mission to mobilize urban dwellers and the grassroots population in continuous practice of the various COVID-19 prevention tips as part of an effort to check the number of new cases that has kept rising on a daily basis. It is in the light of this that the NOAA, Borno State, embarked on a motorized sensitization campaign across Maiduguri metropolis, targeting public places, traditional institutions, and religious bodies. Jetwa John Jesney reports.
The National Orientation Agency, known for various education and enlightenment activities across the country, targeted community mobilization to bring public up to date on government policies and programs relating to eradication of the coronavirus pandemic. The National Orientation Agency noted that relaxation of the lockdown, one of the measures to manage and contain the pandemic in the state, does not render the state COVID-19 free, as it is still on the increase. Emphasis was placed on regular hand washing, use of face masks, and observing social distancing at all times, in addition to other personal hygiene measures. The agency believes that incorporation of tricycle operators, the traditional institution, as well as religious bodies, among others, in the awareness exercise will go a long way in relating the good intentions of government as regards the existence of the coronavirus pandemic in the state and measures for prevention.
We have structured it this time to capture the issue of the moment, which is the fight against coronavirus. There are several accessible local governments that we intend to cover within the remaining 1 week, inshallah.
We are mobilizing our community from the bottom to the top approach.
The National Orientation Agency is of the opinion that campaigns such as this will go a long way in reminding the people on the presence of COVID-19 as well as the need to minimize its spread across the state. In Maiduguri, Jedwa John Jason, NTA News.
Thank you, Jedwa. You're watching Nationwide from Maiduguri. Time now to return to Hawa in Abuja for more stories. Do enjoy the rest of the evening.
Very well, Abubakar. And moving on, a meeting of attorneys general of the Federation in the 36 states with heads of courts and that of the FCT has resolved to create a working platform that will ensure improvement in the nation's justice system. This came from a virtual conference which Judiciary correspondent Femi Okewo monitored for NTA.
Even before now, reforms have been an integral part of Nigeria's justice system. But more so now, with the coronavirus pandemic changing the mode of various activities. The virtual conference organized by the Federal Ministry of Justice brought together the Attorney General of the Federation, Attorneys General of all the 36 states of the Federation, heads of courts in the country, and the FCT, and the Solicitor General of the Federation. Areas of the nation's justice system which the body will tinker with in the light of the influence of COVID-19 include virtual court hearings, decongestion of correctional centers, particularly of awaiting trials, decentralization of correctional services, and implications of various legal and statutory measures on our justice system and their constitutionalism.
As stakeholders, we have a duty to ensure that the pandemic is not allowed to bring the administration of justice machinery to a halt.
If there is effective coordination, we can solve the problem of overcrowding of our prisons with our waiting trial population.
Virtual court hearings are no contradiction to the provision of the Constitution, which says that court hearings are supposed to be in public. If anything, experts say that it enhances that provision. And so, this conference by the Attorney General of the Federation and the Attorneys General of State sets the stage for whatever subsequent changes there are going to be in Nigeria's justice sector. In Abuja, Femi Okewo, NTA News.
Okay, the Eastern Naval Command says improved patrol strategies has yielded results in the reduction of pipeline vandalism and other unwholesome activities in the maritime domain. Retired naval officer Rear Admiral Obonu Ekwe said this at the Eastern Naval Command 2020 Nigeria Navy Week ceremonial sunset in Calabar. Justina Etim reports.
These are highlights of the 2020 Nigerian Navy Week ceremonial sunset marked by the Eastern Naval Command. Though ceremonial sunsets are usually elaborate, this year's ceremony witnessed a skeletal parade due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Speakers at the event recount numerous achievements of the command which have facilitated maritime security and economic prosperity in the country.
Your efforts led to the arrest of numerous vessels, persons, and seizure of petroleum products, as well as metric tons of crude oil.
Officers of the command are also charged on professionalism and integrity, as well as teamwork to move the Eastern Naval Command forward. Part of activities for the Nigerian Navy Week were the distribution of palliatives and personal protective equipment to officers to prevent the spread of COVID-19. In Calabar, Justina Etam, NTA News.
We'll take another break now. More reports when we return.
25th February 2020, Nigeria. It is real. It is a nightmare. It is killing people all over the world. It is COVID-19. Compliance with the various states in Nigeria, the current measures will flatten the curves. Shutting down is not an act of wickedness, but an act to save lives. Stay home, stay safe. Observe social distance. Always put on a face mask while leaving your house. Make sure you are on a tricycle alone. Cars and buses cannot carry more than half their passengers. Always remember to wash your hands. Together, we will defeat COVID-19. This message is brought to you by the National Orientation Agency, Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possibilities.
As a strong immune system increases the chances of victims surviving COVID-19, a corruption-free society creates opportunities for citizens to thrive and prosper. Build your immunity. Stop corruption now. Report all acts of corruption to ICPC on this toll-free number 0800-2255-4272. This message is brought to you by ICPC and NTA.
Nigerians, let us take responsibility. Stay healthy, stay safe, and curb the spread of the virus. Take responsibility. The coronavirus spreads from one person to another. Let us avoid crowd gathering of any kind for any reason. Take responsibility. Avoid traveling from one state to another during these lockdown restrictions. Obey all the rules that are put in place. Take responsibility. Stop spreading fake news and unverified reports about the coronavirus. There is no known cure for COVID-19. Take responsibility. Observe all the measures that can help stop the spread of the virus. Together, we can do this, but only if we take responsibility. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network. The number of the COVID-19 cases in Nigeria is increasing daily, with many more tests ongoing. The battle of testing, isolating, treating, and attending to the affected persons rests heavily on the shoulders of our health workers, constantly putting their lives on the line and at risk to contain this virus, save and protect the lives of millions of Nigerians. To these health workers, we at the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, on behalf of millions of Nigerians, say a big thank you for all that you have done and are doing. To the security agencies enforcing the lockdown and every other frontliner, we say thank you for putting your lives on the line to save ours. There is no amount of words that can quantify our gratitude. Thank you. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
It's still nationwide. Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has described the death of international reggae star Majek Fashek as a huge loss to the creative industry, especially coming at a time the industry has taken a hit from effects of the coronavirus pandemic. In a statement signed by his special assistant, Segun Adeyemi, the minister said Majek Fashek was a classic musician, as he was not just a singer but also a songwriter and a guitarist. He blazed the trail not only for today's reggae artists, but for the entertainment and for the entire generation of musicians in the country. Majak Fashak will particularly be remembered for his groundbreaking album, Prisoner of Conscience, which featured timeless songs like Send Down the Rain, Redemption Song, and Africans Keep Your Culture. Alhaji Mohammed sends his condolences to the family, friends, and fans of the late musician. And former governor of Ondo State, evangelist Bamidele Olumilua, is dead. The Ikere Ekiti-born politician died at the age of 81. He was governor of Ondo State, comprising present Ekiti and Ondo states between 1991 and 1993. He is father of the Ekiti State Commissioner for Information, Muiwa Olumilua, amongst other children. And sports is next.
The wait for a new date of National Sports Festival in Edo State has been generating different approaches to sports management and grassroots sports development in the country. While the coronavirus pandemic has caused readjustments to world sports calendar, veteran sports administrator Ibrahim Galadima canvasses for more transparent structures of administration and a gradual reassessment of Nigeria's sports policy in order to make the sector more vibrant and investor-friendly.
It's high time the ministry sits down to readdress the issue, because if we have to rush into having the games, there may likely be the possibility of some states not being able to attend. And I think the whole idea would have been defeated.
In another development, the National Association of Nigerian Professional Footballers has welcomed the contract extension offer to Super Eagles technical advisor, Gernot Rohr. The association's president, ex-international and former Ajax Amsterdam of Netherlands winger Tijani Babangida says the new mandate of inviting more Nigerian-based players to Super Eagles squad will stimulate the development of Nigeria Professional Football League and spur home-based players to improve.
Rome must concentrate more in the league also. If he have more time, he has to check around, because I'm sure he can see one or two players, because you cannot get more than that in the team. That will only give the league at least a stand that a player from the local is coming to the national team.
Tijani Babangida is a member of Nigeria's gold-winning 1996 Atlanta Olympics football team. With sports updates, Ayodeji, Makinde, NTA News.
And that's Nationwide today. We thank you for watching. Please observe all safety protocols if you must go out. Good evening.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular